Ladies and gentlemen across the galaxy, this is your Grand Admiral Arnold, the director of the video gaming division here at the Galactic Empire, and I got some fantastic news in regards to the clones absolutely crushing the Heroic AAT Raid as well as the Heroic Sith Raid. So much to talk about in this video, mainly because of the magic that Captain Rex is bringing for the raids. Thanks to Captain Rex, he is now able to allow you to fully auto the AAT Heroic Raid in about 13 minutes or less. From what I've seen, that is a world record. And the best part about it, you can do it without the need of legendary characters. And that, my friends, is huge because yes, you're able to solo the Heroic AAT Raid for the most part lately because of Gear 13, relics, and just power creep in general, but it requires some sort of journey character or a couple legendary characters. Captain Rex with the clones can take on the Heroic AAT Raid full auto from phase 1 to phase 4. It is just absolutely gorgeous. Now, before I start rolling the Heroic AAT footage, one thing I really want to point out real quick is kind of what led me to the AAT Raid, because originally I was trying to try out my Captain Rex in phase 2 of the Heroic Sith Raid, but by the time I got everything going, I missed the window for phase 2 of the Heroic Sith Raid, so I had to do phase 3. And the whole strategy I've been trying to develop is how can you get the most aerial advantages possible, because this does massive amounts of damage the longer the raid goes on, because every time a clone trooper ally is taking a turn, he's going to keep increasing the amount of damage he can do an aerial advantage. So the first good news I want to share with you guys today is that in phase 3 of the Sith Raid, the clones, with my strategy involving C3PO, I'll talk about in a second, you're able to do about 12 million damage. And that was the first time me going in with this strategy of Shaak Ti, the 501st, and C3PO getting some major work. Then of course I get people cranking bigger numbers. It's not the best team out there, but it definitely could become one of the top 2 or 3 teams for phase 3 of the Sith Raid. So that's kind of a big thing right there. I do want to try this out again when I have the opportunity in my guild to get the phase 2, because I think Captain Rex, Shaak Ti, and C3PO and some clones, you could probably get some even bigger damage in phase 2 up against Cyan. Maybe some sort of auto thing, because you don't have to worry about cleansing pain and all that and suffering. But let me talk about the Heroic AAT Raid, because I think that's huge, because at this point, as I've said, you needed a couple legendary characters, and some of these teams you've seen out there, you can't completely auto phase 1, and the teams that can fully auto take a little bit of time to make it happen, and a lot of big characters to make it happen as well. So the team I'm going to show you today, you can either use C3PO, which is what I prefer and makes everything a lot easier, as I'll show you today, or you can use things such as the ARC Trooper. I bought ARC Trooper. I've been trying to do some testing, finding what other stuff you could do with him. Of course, you're not going to be able to summon the turret in any of the raids, but he just does pretty solid damage, and he has all the 501st clone synergy to work well with everyone. So let me explain how this works. Let's talk about the C3PO route first as we kind of let the footage flow. So as I said, the core strategy I had in mind was there's got to be a way to keep getting as many aerial advantages as possible, and C3PO is definitely the answer. This is going to be the better team to use in the AAT Raid. And yes, this is a legendary character, but as I said, and I will show you, you don't need C3PO with Shaak Ti and the clones to fully auto the Heroic AAT Raid. But the thing I want to point out is if you're trying to get the most aerial advantages possible, getting the fastest time possible, this is where it comes in handy. C3PO has all of these fun little translation buffs that go around. And the cool thing is with Protocol Droid, once there is 3 stacks on characters with translation, C3PO, when he uses basic ability, he decreases the character's cooldown of 3 stacks of translation by 1. And what does that mean? You want to quickly get translation as many as possible over on Captain Rex, and so long as you keep using C3PO's basic, he's going to keep resetting the cooldowns as fast as possible for Captain Rex to get out as many aerial advantages as possible. So that did well in phase 3 of the Sith. We're getting about 12 million damage, and when it came to the AAT Raid, you're able to just put on full auto phase 1 to phase 4, knock out the Heroic AAT Raid in about 12 to 13 minutes. That's really the only purpose of C3PO in that lineup, is to help get as many aerial advantages as possible. So we're going to put a pin in it in regards to what it can possibly do in phase 2. To see maybe someone else out there will be able to take that idea and make it a lot better before my guild gets around to another Sith Raid. But let's just mainly continue the rest of our conversation in regards to the Heroic AAT fully auto battle that's going on behind us. Taking a break from C3PO here, let's talk about the ARC Trooper, because I tried every single clone variant basically with Shaak Ti. I've tried this without ARC Trooper, putting in Commander Cody. Couldn't get past phase 1 on full auto. Maybe you could do it manually, but on full full auto wasn't quite working out as well. I tried putting Clone Sergeant in the 5th spot, still wasn't really quite being able to fully auto out of phase 1 in the Heroic AAT. But when it came to ARC Trooper, probably because of just the amount of damage he can put out and the counterattacks coming from the Shock T unique ability, it was just enough to get past. And the reason why I want to talk about this for a moment is because this, again, does not require any legendaries to fully auto the Heroic Sith Raid. And I think part of the reason that's helpful is that the ARC Trooper on his basic attack, he deals extra damage if there are no buffs on the target, and especially the AAT Raid, General Grievous, when they're counterattacking, he's using his basic quite a lot. Shock T or 5s might get the ARC Trooper to assist, and every basic is going to do more and more damage. And his assigned command, it is kind of a wasted ability because you can't you have a turret in the raids, unfortunately, but it does good damage. At times you'll see it do easily over 100,000 damage. So there's no command to pass when there's no turret, which I was a little bit surprised. I was expecting Clone Sergeant or Commander Cody to be more helpful because of all the assists they're calling in, or all the turn meter that Clone Sergeant gets to keep using his basic over and over again. It just happened to be that this worked perfectly fine and places C-3PO and all the other clones. The great news is for the Clone ARC Trooper, you're not going to need any zetas to pull this off if you want to go down the route of not using C-3PO. Again, I do want to emphasize C-3PO is going to be a lot better, just hypothetically speaking, because of all the cooldown reductions for Captain Rex's aerial advantage. Let's talk about the rest of the lineup here. Shock T. She's important mainly because of her leadership and her unique ability, and I do believe you're going to need both zetas for this character, especially the unique ability. When it comes to getting out of phase 1, the most difficult phase for the Heroic AAT, especially if you want to do it on full auto, the lazy way, the unique ability is 100% needed because Shock T and Clone Troopers, they're going to get retribution anytime they are hurt. And as you see, I want to say probably 50 to 75% of the damage in phase 1 is coming from the constant counterattacks over and over again, clearing out the droids so they can get back to Grievous. Grievous getting punished anytime he's using an AoE. So I think this is going to be basically mandatory if you want to be able to auto. Now, the leadership ability, maybe you can get away with, but the reason why I think you're going to want to have this Zeta is because survivability is the name of the game. Especially in phase 1, you're going to take a lot of damage. After phase 1, things get way easier, but in phase 1, you're getting smacked, and there might be a chance you get close to enrage and maybe have to endure an enrage or two. But the great thing is, Clone Troopers are going to recover health and protection when they're attacking out of turn. And if you have that Zeta from Shock T's unique ability, you're going to get a lot of opportunities to recover all of your health and protection and back. So this is the perfect team between speed, damage, and health and protection regeneration. This is why this team works so well in the raids so far. Echo, you really don't need the Zeta on Echo, but what is incredibly important is that you load up this guy with as much offense as possible, because you want to make sure when he's assisting or throwing his AoE, he just does massive bonkers damage. I put offense on the arrows, the critical damage on the triangles, offense on the cross, basically offense anywhere you can, because his job is to constantly assist, and do good damage. And I do believe that having the relic, the high relics on Echo, as well as Rex and 5s, are kind of the core to kind of work with, because that's where all of your damage is coming from, while things like C-3PO or Shock T are kind of playing more of a supporting role, so they don't need to be reliced out that much. The damage is coming from the 3 main 501st clone characters. When it comes to 5, same thing, kind of like Echo, mod him for as much offense as possible. It's not because we're preparing him to be sacrificed. Most likely, if everything goes well, 5 should not sacrifice himself. So tactical awareness, basically none of the Zetas are really required for 5s either. It's really just coming down to Shock T's 2 Zetas and Captain Rex's 1 Zeta, as we'll talk about in a moment. But load up 5s with as much offense as possible, because he's going to be counterattacking, assisting. He has some very high damage for a tank, ladies and gentlemen, so he's going to be putting out some big punches for your team. But if you do want to put a Zeta solely for the raids, at least for the HAAT raid, I would probably say go with Domino Squad, because he's going to regenerate a lot of turn meter and take a lot more turns, therefore more damage, more assists. So that might be the only Zeta in terms of the Heroic AAT raid. But of course, tactical awareness on 5s is the better Zeta overall for PvP, the Sith Raid, and whatnot. So if you want to go put a Zeta on 5s, it's more than good. You'll be in a great spot, but it's not mandatory to auto the AAT raid. The Zeta on Captain of 501st, I'm going to say it is going to be required. It's a fantastic Zeta, easily one of the top Zetas in this game right now. Being able to reduce the cooldowns of other 501st Clone Trooper allies is significant. I think that might be why this, if you're going down the ARC Trooper route for no C-3PO, I think ARC Trooper works better than Commander Cody, as well as the Clone Sergeant, is because that the Captain of the 501st unique ability keeps resetting the cooldowns on things like ARC Trooper a lot more and all the other clones, so they can keep using their specials a lot more often. So basically 3 Zetas Isn't that crazy? We're at a point where we just need 3 zetas on some casual characters that are not legendary or any sort of amazing god tier event character to take out and solo the AAT raid. Beyond that, there's really not much else to the strategy because, again, this is a full auto AAT lineup. You just go in there, hit auto, and just let them do their thing. The only time I'd say you maybe want to just step in is one, between the cutscenes. When you move between phases, you got to click on the screen for the dialogue to disappear. And secondly, when you get into phase 3, I just made sure I tapped and targeted the main boss in phase 3 because when they're wasting all their massive high single fire damage on the B1 droids, it kind of messed up my OCD because Echo's AoE should easily knock out all the B1 droids, and you should just have everyone focusing on the B2. Probably you'd still be able to solo phase 3 perfectly fine, but for me, when I was sitting there, it was just annoying me that they were not targeting the B2 rocket trooper. It is literally the easiest time I've had in a raid, and it was so exciting because if anyone is going to break a record for the fastest fully soloable auto team raid run out there, it would have to be the Clones, and I'm so happy that the Clones are making history today by taking down the AAT raid and finally making it the easiest, fastest, fully 100% auto soloable heroic raid that we have out there. So that's really the main highlight of today, ladies and gentlemen. Clones, besides the fact they formed one of the most meta teams, the 501st General Skywalker team, they also form an amazing Shock T lineup. They're needed for so many things in the game, such as ship. It is amazing to see that they're going to be kicking some serious butts in the raids, doing able to do great work in the AAT raid. And as we're seeing in phase 3, my first go around without any optimization or a perfect strategy knockdown, they're able to easily do 12 million damage in the Sith Raid in phase 3, which is one of the more challenging phases out there. And we're going to come back to whenever I can get around to another phase 2 run in my guild. I'm going to be trying out phase 2, getting in on it right away, because I think this is going to be probably one of the best phase 2 lineups we're going to have in the Sith Raid. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching and enjoying this moment in history with me as the Clones conquer the raid content in Galaxy of Heroes. Like if you did enjoy the video, comment down below on all your thoughts. Be sure to support the Clone Troopers, and be sure to subscribe so you're not missing a thing. And I'll see all you lovely people in the next video. Peace out, everyone.